All right. This is vlog 110 on the Conspiracy Broadcasting Network. I try to do weekly vlogs on this conspiracy that revolves around anarchy, stalking, cyber stalking, and technology that's being used by masses of people. Also, the tactics that are being used when they have the opportunity to be in your proxemics and around public space, whether it be in the stores, whether it be at school, and how family and friends and your working environment, as well as the justice system, is using subversion and sabotage to trash your life and to have narcissistic control over you. Um, on 109, I discussed a few things I recall regarding homosexuality, and then I touched a little bit about the relationship and the social level of the campaign, where they're keeping you isolated deliberately, and they're making sure to do everything in their power to make sure that you're inferior, that you're subordinate, that you're financially oppressed, and that you are under this regime of terrorism that has all the tools of McCarthy tactics, COINTELPRO, the discredit, the disrupt, the disinform, and things of that nature, the deflection. And the biggest weapon they use is the electronic component, which is the cyber stalking component. Um, so let's get into this recent video here of 110. I've spoken a lot about a lot of the things that I've encountered since the inception of the program that's been going on for decades, and the grooming and the permissive neglect and the coercive control by the justice system, as well as those most close and intimate to your social circle, including family. Um, Today I woke up, decided to sleep in a little bit. And the reason why I have these instances at the gym is because it's one of the last places that I really go out in public. Um, Anytime I go out in public to a regular place, whether it be school or the grocery store, that's where I'll start telling you what happened at those places. But because really I'm focused on doing remote work and working at from the house, I don't go out and get groceries anymore. I get them delivered because of the abuse and the harassment, the stalking and the terrorism. And then at the gym is one of the last places I go to. So, with that being said, this morning when I went there, um, it was a leg day, and I went a little bit later because that's when they open, which is later in the morning around 7. So I was there around 6:50, and when I arrived, I'm just going to do this. So when I arrived, um, we talked about this campaign of white SUVs and how they're using it to stalk you, and they're using these white SUVs to cause you mental distress and turmoil. And every time you go somewhere, they're always stalking you, or they're staging along your transit everywhere you go. And this is what they used to get me arrested on February 19th of this year. And they had them come to my house. They had them follow me to school. They had them follow me to fishing, anywhere and everywhere, follow behind me. And then they have the police work with them and harass me after my arrest. And then they continue to do so. And so here is what I took a photo of this morning when I arrived. Okay. So this picture right here is a picture of this lady who is always there. When I arrive, she's always there. Okay. So in the morning at like 5 or whatever, or whenever they open, basically she makes sure that she's always there, and she is always on a treadmill walking. And this morning, usually she doesn't park here, but this morning she parked here. Usually this is parked at the other parking garage, because I've never seen this, but I've seen her over a span of over a month now. But anyway, she makes sure that she's always there near the front door, kind of like maybe a dozen or a dozen and a half treadmills down. So when you open the door, she's always there. And so she parks right here as I'm getting to turn the engine off. And then she closes the door and gets to walking in the gym. Okay. So she wants to be just like this guy named Brian Todorovic. That was not a roommate, but a classmate. I did recall that I wanted to edit that. That I think I said roommate, but I meant to say classmate. Long story short, what they do is they're taking your past and they're taking people that you have a relationship value with, and then they're stalking you with those people. And in this case, using a body habitus similar to my mother. This lady is Caucasian looking or appearing, and then she's driving this white SUV. And this is the inception of the day right here. So as the day goes on, and I should say really the morning while I'm there, okay, I go and I start lifting. And what I notice is what these people do is they'll wait for you to do a workout or a set on a machine. And then when you get off of it physically, off of the cushion, and then you stand up and turn like this to go somewhere else, what they have is somebody always ready to walk directly in front of you like this. So if I'm turning like this, there's someone directly in front of you, and they're using the colors white and black today. White, black, and blue was the biggest things. And so what they were doing is they knew that I was staring at the ground when I'm on the cushion for the hamstring curls. So whenever I get up like that, okay, and look up, they'll make sure someone's crossing, and they're always crossing right here in front of you. Okay, right here in this either 11 to about 1 o'clock position, but primarily it's always a time deal with frequency. They make sure to time their passing right at 12 o'clock. So if I get up like this and turn, someone's right there up ahead, 12 o'clock, right? And if I get up and turn like this and go this way, someone's passing like this. And so every set, basically, right? You can go to the leg extension, you could go to the hamstring curl machine, you could go to the leg press machine. But what they do is they make sure that to annoy you and disturb you and to heighten your sense of aggravation, okay, and harassment and terrorism, is to always make sure that they're using this quote unquote technology, and they're using proxemics in order to facilitate mental disturbance. Okay. And so you're always being tracked by random strangers you don't know. And what they're using is a color coordination and color patterns in order to abuse you. And so what I noticed was they were using a lot of black today. Okay. And so they'll make sure that when you're walking anywhere and you turn, they're making sure that there's someone directly in front of you with a black shirt. Okay. If you're going down one of the corridors and you're taking a right, when you take that right, someone is going to be directly in front of you somewhere at the 12 o'clock position wearing a black t-shirt. When you do your exercise and you're set and you turn around, someone's going to cross in front of you again at the 12 o'clock position wearing a black t-shirt. Okay. And this goes on. And then they'll change it up to blue. Okay. Like black and blue, like you're getting beat up or something. And what they're trying to always do is make mental connections. Okay. And so they'll use the color blue. And because you're not looking up or you're wearing a hat, they know you're wearing a hat. What they'll do is they'll change it up to blue shoes. We want to make sure that you see the color blue. And so we're going to wear blue shoes because we know that you could see our feet underneath the bill, but you can't see our attire. That's fine. You could wear a hat, but we're going to wear blue shoes in more frequency. That way, all we have to do is just walk in your proximal space, knowing that you're going to see our feet. And so we're going to use blue shoes. So they increase the amount of people wearing blue shoes. Okay. So this whole blue attire thing was going on, white shirt thing was going on, and then black shirt thing was going on. And I get over towards the end of my workout, and I'm feeling good, and I'm building some strength, I noticed. And I'm kind of like in what some might say, if you know anything about it, but maybe around like strength endurance, maybe, right? Maybe going on maximal strength now on some of my lifts, not quite power. So whenever I get to the leg press, I'm doing some things, but I noticed that the leg press is full of trash. They made sure to take the little tips of the brown paper towels and lay them right where your head and your shoulders are on the leg press near the ground, inches from the ground. So every time you get to the cushion, you have to see this trash. And then what they did was, and I knew that there was a pattern of black today, so I started going behind the machine, like behind the plate and the leg plate, and where the weight stacks are, and just going around the other way. And when I did that, they had laid down like this black tape, some type of like black tape stuff, and they just left it there. So they know that you're going to go either area. So they put trash there. But that's the thing. The thing is that they're using those whole patterns again. Here we go, right? They're ramping it up. Okay. I'm like a week and a half out, 2 weeks out from an examination. Here we go, ramping it up. Okay. So I take this trash and I kick it and push it and scoot it over to the trash can. Okay. But I knew that the whole black thing was something that they're trying to bring up again. Okay. And so they maintain this navigation of proxemics to be on your accord. So if you're done doing a leg press, you get up, turn. There's going to be someone right here in front of you. When you go maybe towards the bathroom section and you go down the corridor towards another like 30-minute section of the gym, there's going to be someone crossing, in front of you. And they're always trying to use these color coordinations to constantly disturb your mind, constantly make you busy. Okay. And so I get home, and I want to make sure I put this in there. I get home and I make sure that I had some things to get done were done. And then I had to make sure that I had some tools to move around and kind of shift some stuff around the sides of the house and move some water hoses and stuff. And my neighbor, she doesn't ever leave really anything out, but when she does, she's leaving things out in order to abuse me and harass me. Now, recall, I think on 108 or 109, I described how she left some trash out after I just finished planting my shrubs, and that the trash is always around the one area where you see it. It's never around her whole yard. She has a whole yard, okay? And this trash is always right there at the boundary of my property and her property, making sure that I see it, okay, in the same spots all times, okay? And so I get to doing some stuff around the house, and I had just planted some things. And you can see I planted some thuja greens, and this little black thing right here and all of the like these right here have never been there before. Okay. And anytime that they know that I'm getting ready to do something or I'm prepared to do something, they start laying things out and they stage things. And she's been like known to do this ever since I moved here. This is the same lady I had issues with my mail. Okay. And the list goes on. And so she puts like this black towel thing here, knowing that I'm going to be navigating this section of the yard because I'm doing a home DIY project right now. And so she knows I'm going to be going back and forth through this corridor right here. Okay, kind of around the house over here, then down the hill, and then kind of back behind the house. And so this area is busy. Okay. And she knows that I also planted it here and stuff, and I got to water these and make sure everything's good. And so what she'll do is now that this morning they put trash around the gym floor where I was frequenting and it was black, they're going to start putting these things like this around, black shirts, and using that color. Okay. And they're going to continue that. Okay. When I drove home, they had the people that were in town. They'll use like homeless people. They'll use just regular citizens. And what they'll do is they'll hang around the sidewalks near the stop signs, or they'll hang around near the street lights where it's a red light. And they'll just hang around there wearing whatever color that the theme is for the day. And so the theme is black. Okay. That's the theme. And so I get through town, I went past one of the police departments, and there's this black guy just sitting right on top of a stop sign, and he's holding this. He's kind of like rubbing this stop sign with his hand, and he's got like this black shirt on. Okay, and you'll see all of this. I'll point all this out in a second, and you'll see that whenever you're driving, these people are always on the most proximate side of you, so that they can be the closest to you, so that they can send the message, and so that they can terrorize you with whatever color that they have in store on the buffet for you today. Okay. Now that's the color coordination. Back to the gym. I had to get on that tangent about the whole color coordination component, okay, to finish that story. But back to the gym, the lady, right, reminding me of my mother, the white SUV, right? And then when I get in there, it's always about making sure that they're on my accord every time I turn somewhere, okay? There's also this black gal in there, and she was also doing the same thing, making sure that I'm always walking on their accord, like they're walking on my accord technically, and I can't turn anywhere without them intercepting my line of sight like this, okay? It's always the same thing, okay, every time. And the thing is you don't even have to be done with the actual machine or the system. Let's just say it's a Smith system. All you have to do is the fact that you're going to be lifting a plate off of the plate rack and you're moving it onto a bar. Just this alone, they'll have someone like this at a 45. They're standing there with whatever color they're trying to terrorize you with. So, and then when you turn back, there's going to be someone directly in front of you again with the same color. Okay, and so they're going to terrorize you. It doesn't even matter if you're done or not. It doesn't even matter if you started. It's going to go. They're going to terrorize you through the beginning all the way to the end. And whenever I started parking there at that spot, and I was kind of taking my time because I didn't want to really even be near this lady. I wanted to take a photo of her vehicle. I looked down the public buildings where she was getting ready to go into the gym, and I could see that there is this taller guy wearing a black shirt opening the door for her. Okay, so that's how I entered the gym, making sure. And I could get photos and video, and I could video the gyms any day I want to. But all of a sudden, they switched it up. Okay, they switched it up, their attire all of a sudden. Okay. When I get to the leg press, I'm listening to music, right? And we talked about how they're infiltrating and using cyberstalking to abuse you through your music and your phone. And they're inserting tracks to be abusive, right? So I'm in there and I'm doing like a leg press and I'm feeling extra strong. And I did some extra rest with some eating, and I did some other things nutritionally. And I have plans for the day, right? I went ahead, I knocked out my yard. I did some stuff the day before. Again, whenever there's something that I'm doing that is beneficial and it has some type of peace of mind, it's productive, I'm just going about my flow, this is when they attack, okay? So I'm going to back out and go to my screenshots. Let's see here. So I'm standing there moving some plates around. My let's see here. Camera, screenshot. I'm moving some plates around, getting things ready. I had like 5 or 6 plates or something like that, moving them around, getting them situated on each side. Okay. And I listened to a podcast, or not really a podcast. I guess you would say it's a playlist. Really, it's not a podcast. It's just like a playlist. And I got into funk a little bit whenever I lift weights. It kind of gets me more focused. And long story short, I noticed that they started aggravating me with the inception of me arriving, with the lady parking there, reminding me of my mother, the white SUV thing, and then this whole black deal, wearing black in there, and then you have people wearing white, and then they're kind of walking around you with blue attire and blue shoes, okay, and they're starting to walk on your accord again, okay, to ramp you up. So this is toward like 15 minutes before I leave, and this is me already acknowledging the trash that was around. I'm listening to music and they put this song on that says "Leave Me Alone." And so this song is literally saying "Leave me alone, leave me alone," like just ranting, "Leave me alone," right? And this is what I'm talking about, how they target you and continue to harass you. You're a victim of terrorism and narcissism. And then they're going to play this, okay, as a semantic. And they're listening to what it is that I'm saying, like on 109, right? Enough's enough, leave me alone, right? And then what they do is this is a track, because I listened to Jim Core probably the past 2.5, even 3 months. I'd say conservatively the past 3 months. I've never heard this track in here. But the second I had 109 uploaded, okay, and you hear me that I'm frustrated saying leave me alone, they're going to insert this into my playlist. This is what I'm talking about. And this has been going on for years. Okay. And so they're going to stalk you and they're going to bring these white SUVs around, and then they're going to insert this track that says leave me alone. Okay. I'm going to get a better shot here. And so they're going to jab at you whenever you're listening to music. Okay. Let's zoom in so we can see a little better. This is the actual track. The playlist is Jim Core. This is the actual track. Okay. And they've done this numerous times. Numerous times. You'll be listening to a playlist that has a lot of tracks, but then all of a sudden something new will come up. And the only time this is inserted is when they're mocking you. Mocking you after you've posted 108 and 109, where you hear me saying, enough's enough, leave me alone, right? And so they put this into the playlist, okay? Leave Me Alone by Baby Keem. I don't know the rest of it, okay? And then when you listen to it, it's just this guy literally on almost like a synthwave EDM funk kind of mix. You could hear him just saying, leave me alone, leave me alone. You could look it up yourself, okay? So this is what they're playing while I'm over here doing a PR on my leg press. And I'm not really doing a PR technically because I was doing like 4 and 5 reps, but I was doing heavy weight. I was doing like 6 or something like that on each side, okay? And so while I'm doing this, they turn that on. They make sure to turn that on. Okay. Remember, I said this is the same cyberstalking that's going on with my commercials and my ads. When I'm doing something in the house in real time, they'll send me an ad or a commercial. That's exactly what it is that I'm doing in real time, and they'll start talking about it. Okay. So once I hear this, I'm just like, well, whatever. You know, I already know this is what they're doing. So then I'm doing and finishing up almost like a PR. I hit like, I think 5 or 6 plates for like a half a dozen or so times. I try to do more volume now on legs and less power, and because I'm kind of doing some my own experimentations. But long story short, all of a sudden I finish up that particular milestone, which I haven't done that type of weight in a long time. And so they turn the music off completely after I hit my PR. Not really, again, not really a PR because I did it like half a dozen times, but after I had done more than what I've ever done in a long time, basically, like years, basically. And I'm finally getting symmetrical strength back because the Achilles rupture, the partial rupture, took a toll on my entire right side. So I have to rehabilitate the entire side. And my whole right side of my right lower extremity is weak. So I have to individually work on each muscle group in that chain, all the way to the lumbar pelvic complex. So long story short, they turn the music off, okay? And then they'll have a female walk by me in my periphery near the trash can and throw something in the trash like this. Okay. So then I decide that I did what I had to do. I wasn't ever going to stay in there more than an hour because I just need rest, really, and food after I tear everything up. So I get to the house, but first I have to drive, right? I have to hit the next phase of terrorism. And I'm going to do a screen share here. Okay. So I always notice that when I'm coming out of my facility, whether it be my house or the gym facility or wherever it is, public facility, if I'm coming out of there and I'm driving, those lights are always on my accord and they're always trying to randomly do things that don't even make sense, and they're controlling the lights. Okay. And they make me wait at this one intersection forever. So I don't go through the intersection, I just bypass it and go through some lots, basically. Okay. And when I do this, and they notice that I've started to establish this pattern, and so I started video recording. You could see the time, you could see the date. And as I literally hit the parking lot, I turn, and sure enough, we're on this white SUV campaign again. Okay. This is exactly the time. I did have an hour behind, I believe, at one point, and I just reset everything. So this is true down to the seconds. And so immediately I turn, and here we are. The same patterns of vehicles, white SUVs, red vehicle. Okay, I go do what I need to do, use my turn signal here. They have everything staged here. Okay, do my little stop here, do what I got to do. And then right here, what they're doing is they're using white trucks. I spoke about white trucks, I think in the 90s, early 90s, late 80s, how the white trucks are always there. And so this is no different. So you see me turning here, and watch as they have everything staged here, the whole white truck deal. And then watch what happens as I turn here. You can see the white truck go behind the SUV. The white truck go behind the SUV. So you have multiple white trucks. For some reason, they're always trying to use threes, fours, just couplets, triplets, and they're always trying to invade your visual space. This is always a tactic of intimidation, knowing that you're turning, knowing that they're showing you that they're using terrorism here. And when you turn, this is the same thing that people are doing on foot. You notice when I turn, they want to make sure that they're exactly at the 12 o'clock in mid stride. This is so common, and this is the most commonest thing that they use, is that when you're turning like this, they're always in your face. They want to be in your face for some reason. I don't, and it's just there to disturb you and cause mental distress. And you'll see that this white truck is almost trying to be in line. You see how the white truck is always trying to pass, so that you see that he's passing with other white trucks. So it becomes multiples. And he does the same thing to make sure, if you were to draw a V like this, here and then to here, he makes sure to hit both points of your visual field, right? He makes sure to drive so that you see this. Your visual field is going to collect this information like this, and then you're going to go through here and see it again. And so this is why they're passing like that. And they're always using some type of choreography, aka theater, just like this. Okay, making these passes in your visual field. Okay, so I have to come over here and do a little turn, because I don't like being at the light knowing that I'm going to be stalked and harassed. And speaking of, you could see right here is a white truck. And where I was going to go was right around here. So they actually had everything staged regardless of where I was going. They had it where I was just at, and then they had it to where this light right here, you would have seen this white truck or any other white truck plus this white truck. So they already staged this. This is what I'm talking about, is they stage your exit. The more on time and routine and scheduled you are, the more organized you are, the easier it is for them to attack you and terrorize you. Okay, so here we are. Okay, so we did the whole white SUV deal, and what do I have to do? I come to a stop about right here, and as I come to a stop, what's passing? Of course, lo and behold. And so here's the campaign, and what just passed me? The white SUV. And so this whole deal is when you're parked in this median, these cars don't just pass you, right? They don't just pass. Oftentimes, as a passenger, when you're a kid and a teenager, when you're sitting in this median like this, what happens to your vehicle? It shakes, right? Your vehicle actually shakes from the cavitation of the vehicles breaking through the atmosphere, okay? Breaking through the gases. And so that cavitation presses against your vehicle. And so your vehicle will vibrate and kind of undulate briefly as they pass by. And so what they do here is they're terrorizing you literally by weaponizing white SUVs, and they're passing by you. So visually you're disturbed, and then you feel it as they pass by, right? As your vehicle undulates as they pass by. Okay. So it's the visual piece, it's the noise piece, and then your vehicle, especially if you have a lighter vehicle, is going to undulate as they're driving past. So the purpose here was to cross in front like this, and then have another one cross like that. You can see the coordination, okay? One on the left, one on the right. And you can see that they both crossed almost, if you took the camera and turned it to the right, they made sure to cross so that you're sandwiched in between. Literally, the other white SUVs right over here, making sure that they're sandwiching you in between and crossing you left and right, trying to send a message and intimidating you, okay? On top of this, these people driving oftentimes will always try to resemble, mock, or mirror your family members at all times. It'll be either my brother, it'll be my mother, or it'll be my father. At all times, they will always try to mimic. The person will always try to mimic their body habitus from the chest up. Oftentimes. Okay. So you see this. So I'm waiting because I know now that I'm on their little buffet of abuse. I'm on their little cyberstalking game. And so if I had turned, this is why they have a gap here. You see how there's a gap here? They're thinking that you're going to turn, and they want you to. So they made a gap here. They made a gap so you could turn, thinking that you have space. And then when you turn, guess what's behind you? They're going to sit here and abuse you, right? After I just got done talking about the music and how they just slid that into my playlist, the Leave Me Alone thing, and they just slid that into my playlist literally 20 minutes ago in the gym, right? 15 technically, 15 or so, 10 to 15 actually, 10 to 15 minutes ago, okay? And they just slid that in my track of playlist. So here we are, right? And if you look at this whole deal, we have white SUVs lingering around every 10 seconds or less at this point, from the point in which I left, okay? And this vehicle created space thinking that I was going to take it, okay? And then they would speed up behind me and then follow me, okay? And then behind them, what do we have? They start bringing up the red vehicles again. I don't know what the deal is, but the red vehicles have been one of the common denominators for years, ever since they overtly began the campaign overtly. So I'm just sitting here waiting because I know what's going to happen. And sure enough, here's another white SUV on the right and another one on the left, right? And so I'm like, okay, well, whatever. I'm just going to take this. Now, you're going to hear me say when I play this that actually, you know what? I'm not even going to play the audio. I'm just going to roll with this. Here we are. See, so we have this white SUV coming to the intersection on the opposing lane. When I drove to the gym, they made sure a white SUV was in front of me the whole time, coming all the way down to the gym for the vast majority of transit. And this is why you can't just go and work and live your life, because you're always followed around. And these people had plans to come behind you and drive behind you. That's what their plan were. more white SUVs. I'm just going to play it, I guess. And I'm going to stop about right here. I'm going to bring this up. They're doing about right here. You and following you around. And then the justice system allows it to happen. So on the way. So hold on one second. I want to get to a point here. There's a specific point that I want to get to. And now, if you call the police, you've seen on February 19th what happens when you call the police, and you've been doing this for years. You've been calling the police about this type of harassment, and they're willing to give you tickets. They're telling you that if you call 911, you'll get a ticket. They're willing to arrest you and tase you whenever you can't handle it. And it's just nonstop. And then your employers make sure that you're oppressed and you're destitute at all times, right? So at this point, you can see it's every intersection. They made sure that another white SUV was coming through. So we have one intersection here. That's one light. There's another one. Here's another one. Okay. And then we stop here. Now, when we stop, I get the license plate and then we continue. But what you don't see at this point is that I'm getting ready to turn the camera. A white SUV behind me too. And they're just putting on this display of I don't give a fuck. So this is the white SUV's grill right here. Driving behind me. I'm sweating like a dog because I just did legs. And it's humid as hell. And you could see they're just going to drive behind you. You're doing 40, which is the speed limit, and they're pressing you. Okay? So you're doing the speed limit, and he's going to come around. And that's why it's so bright, because it's so bright. You can't see anything because it's reflecting off of white. So you can see it right there, basically, right there. But it's white on white, so it's so bright that you can't see it. But you can see the grill flicker. And so there's a white SUV following behind me. And then because I'm doing the speed limit and all these assholes want to fucking tailgate me, including this white SUV, they decide that they're going to go around, which is this one right here. Okay. This one goes around here. Okay. And so they have them on the opposite side. And then we just do this whole thing all the way back to the house. And a lot of the times they've been using this white SUV deal whenever I'm leaving. It won't be there when I go, but they'll use it more whenever I turn around and go home. They'll use it then. Okay, and they're always trying to fuck with your mind and send some type of message, basically. Okay, this truck right here with the trailer and the stuff in it was the same truck or similar that drove in front of me all the way to the gym. So they made sure to drive while I was driving to the gym, to drive in front of me, just like this truck right here, to make a point for some reason, like moving or something. And they're always trying to send a fucking message. They're always trying to control your mind. They're always trying to fear monger you. They're always trying to control you. It's about narcissistic control at all times. This same vehicle strapped with the same stuff, minus the trailer, was driving in front of me on the way to the gym. And then when I leave, he's driving in front of me now, and he's so adamant about stalking you that he's in the left fucking lane, okay? And he's hauling shit. Does that make sense? No, okay? And he's going slow. He's inappropriately driving. So he should be in lane 3, okay? Long story short, I pass him up. And then this is when I go home and do whatever, but I notice that there's trash in my lane all the way back to the house. And they made sure to put trash only in this lane, like, for example, here, okay? And in some other spots. Here, okay, is actually a diamond. I think that was a diamond. But on the way home, I'm looking and I could just see that there's trash only in my side of the street. Okay. And this is when they start picking up the program. They start picking up the program, they start picking up the mental disturbance, and they start picking things up to abuse you. And here comes the white SUV. Okay. Again. Right. And what they'll do is they'll let you transit all the way through. You notice since the last time a white SUV was there, they'll have you transit almost like nothing, like they're done fucking with you, right? Okay, we're done, and then you go about your business like a regular person in a regular transit, right? And then what happens is what they'll do is they know that the police officer is coming, right? And guess it's not just any police officer; it's the city police, right? And they know that they're driving. They know where each other's at. So look, you can see him on the left right here coming through, right? And here's him intimidating you and mocking you and then keeping narcissistic, coercive control over you. And when this guy passes, right, what comes up right here? You see how that works? You see how that works, right? And it's just non-fucking stop. Non-fucking stop harassment, non-stop intimidation, whatever it takes, whatever anarchy we could use in order to control you, intimidate you, harass you, and terrorize you, we're going to do it, no matter what it takes. Now, if I call the police, they're going to act like nothing's going on. They're going to hand you a little card, and they're not going to do a damn fucking thing about it. And this is why I stopped calling the fucking police. Okay? And so I'm just going to start putting it all on the rest of that ongoing lawsuit. I'm not dealing with it anymore. I'm not doing little individual lawsuits. I'm not doing any of that bullshit. The things that I've already filed, it says ongoing. So by law, when it says ongoing, that means it has to remain open, okay, until it's dealt with or addressed. And so since there's something ongoing, we're just going to start putting all of these issues and all these problems and all these illegal things that the anarchy is accomplishing, okay, including the police departments and all this other stuff that I have documented. And so this is part of their antics and abuse, is to drive by, okay, and then have this white SUV come through. Okay. And when you start driving through here, you're going to see the trash is only in your lane. Okay. And these people that walk like this, those are the people that are throwing the trash down. They know you're coming through, and they're always tracking you ahead of you. They know what routes you take, and they just go up there and they'll throw trash down and make sure that the trash is only in your lane, right? And this is one of the guys I'm talking about. So at the gym, they had black attire, and they started this whole black attire deal. Here we are. And so he makes sure that he's on your side, okay? He makes sure that you're going to look at that stop sign, so you got to look at him. And these motherfuckers are just nonstop, whatever it takes, okay? And in the gym, they'll make sure to have people with black attire intercepting your line of sight. Every time you move, you're going to be intercepted at a 12 o'clock position. Okay. They're going to stage exactly where your movements are, and they're going to stage exactly at your 12 o'clock. So even if you're working out and you're just taking a break, if you sit at the end of the cushion or something and look at your phone, which I never do. I know everybody does it, but I don't do that. I just go on to the next circuit. But when you're moving weights like plates, every time you go to move a plate, they'll make sure that when you turn, there's going to be someone at 12 o'clock position, okay, intercepting your line of sight with the color black, okay, or whatever color that they want you to see, okay? And this is supposed to be a campaign of fear mongering. Usually when they have something like this, a color black, they're trying to fear monger you about something near in your future. Usually they'll bring this color around whenever something is getting ready to happen. Either someone is going to call you, something of drama in nature is fixing to happen, basically. And that's what they've traumatized you to appreciate. And they use this a lot back in physician assistant school, and they'll carry these people around your areas of transit and have them walk and use black. And then they'll have your employers and your professors and everybody, including your family, your mother and your father, use McCarthy tactics on you and tell you things aren't real when they are, tell you that you need to go do certain things. And it's just narcissism. It's just narcissism. And the whole time they're just running you into problems and doing whatever they can and ramping things up. Okay. So I'm going to go back real quick because there's another guy back here, long ways out, that I picked up on about right. I'm going to show you in a second. He's going to be on the right side. Okay. I think that was him. Let me see. No, it was later. Oh, I know where it was. Okay, I know where it was. It was past this. It was about right up here. Downhill is about right here. Okay, so it should be, this guy's going to be on the right, and he's going to be wearing blue. Right. Let's see if I can find him. There he is. Right there. Right there. Here he is right here. Okay. So he's on here wearing blue. Now, these people will stage like this. I talked about trucks in blue before, like tractor trailers in blue. And I've done that whole deal where they use the same thing. Okay. And so you got him right here wearing blue. And the reason he's there is because up ahead, you have more blue. Okay. So you see there urology. And what happens is this started in the morning in the gym. When you were laying on your chest, down doing hamstring curls, looking at the ground, and you had your hat on, they're making sure to come in your proxemics, okay, wearing blue sneakers. And then when you got up off of that bench and you turned, they made sure that at 12 o'clock position, maybe 75 feet away, they have someone wearing blue directly at your 12 o'clock position, knowing that that's the next machine you're going to. So they're going to stage in that direction at your 12 o'clock. So it becomes a chain of theater. Okay. This is how the theater works. It becomes a chain, and they start chaining people who are complete strangers, homeless people, whatever you want to call them, other citizens. Okay. And they start chaining these people and their family, their friends, and everybody starts using this color coordination, this theater. Okay, so we passed the guy in blue. You're notice that all of a sudden you're connected with blue, and he's doing this on the right side, knowing that the things that are upcoming, look, blue, and then when you come up here, blue, the buildings, right? And so he stages near these areas, literally staging near the areas that he knows you're going to be associated with. Okay. And it just keeps going until you see again blue. Okay. And they just keep doing this. And this is not the first time they made the connections like that. This is not the first time they've done that. I talked about how vehicles will deliberately pass you, knowing that there's signs ahead on the highway that are the color of the vehicle. And they'll pass you deliberately just so that they can be and show you on accord exactly what they want you to see. Okay. And so you see on the right here, this whole next quarter to half a mile has nothing but blue buildings, blue mailbox, blue signs. Okay. And so that's why that guy was there. Okay. And this just continues. So that's what I'm talking about. Okay. And you're being traumatized. You're being terrorized by these people that are complete strangers. You don't know them. They know you. And it's so blatantly obvious that when you go and talk to anybody about it, just like you're told, no one's going to believe what you say. They're telling you it's not real when it blatantly is real. And even if you have people removing evidence, is how could you have a sequence or a series of social interactions that are derogatory and that are belligerent, okay, and that are defamatory every single time you go somewhere? Why is it every single time there's a pattern that I'm doing something, I'm accomplishing something, then there's a period or a pattern of abuse and harassment coming along? Doesn't even matter what anybody told me in the past at this point. It's a simple fact that there's a collection of nonstop, perpetual, okay, problems everywhere, everything. So now I'm at the house, and then when I get to the house, that's when I had to, take pictures of the neighbor using that whole color black deal, right? And then I have to go about my day. But this is what I'm dealing with. Them turning my music off again, them harassing me when they're sending me a track that says, leave me alone. And so they're using that to mock you, right? And then they're going to have this go on. Okay? Then they're going to have that go on with the white SUV things on the way back to the house. 110.